Welcome to FoodPoint. This is a bonus recipe for steak and stout pie. There are a lot of recipes out there that claim to be traditional. I won't make the same claim with mine, but I will say it tastes good. The first step is to make the filling, which is essentially a thick beef stew. To make this, you need 1 kilogram of diced beef. I'm using beef cheeks, but you can just as easily use chuck, topside, or brisket. To go with this, you'll also need 500 ml of beef stock, 300 ml of stout beer, 2 sliced red onions, 300 grams of small mushrooms cut into quarters, 2 diced carrots, half a cup of plain flour, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, a few sprigs of fresh thyme, some bay leaves, salt and pepper. In a bowl, mix together the flour and a pinch of salt and pepper until combined. Then add it to the beef and toss until evenly coated. It's easiest to just use your hands for this. Next, add some oil to a pan over a medium-high heat and sear the beef in batches, adding more oil as necessary. Once all the beef has been seared, place it aside and add the onions to the pan. Reduce the heat and fry the onions until they're soft and begin to caramelize. Then throw in the brown sugar and balsamic vinegar and saute until most of the liquid has evaporated. Then add in the stout, stock, and Worcestershire sauce. Tie the thyme and bay leaves together and add them to the pot. This will make it easier to remove at the end. Return the seared beef to the pan along with the mushrooms and carrot and a generous pinch of salt and pepper. Bring up to the boil, then reduce the heat, cover, and allow to simmer for around 2 hours, stirring occasionally. By now the stew should be thick and the beef tender. You can eat it like this with some mashed potato on the side, but I promised you a pie, so instead place it aside to cool for a while you make the pastry. You could just buy ready-made pastry and use that, but it's actually not difficult to make your own. You'll just need 1 cup of plain flour, 1 cup of self-raising flour, 100 grams of very chilled unsalted butter, 100 grams of chilled lard, 1/3 of a cup of chilled water, and a cold egg right from the fridge. If you're a bit leery of using lard, you can just use all butter instead. To make the pastry, simply place the flours, along with the butter and lard, into a food processor and pulse until it looks like rough breadcrumbs. Add in the water and egg and pulse again until it clumps together. Scatter some more plain flour onto a bench and pour out the pastry. Bring it together into a ball quickly, then wrap it in cling film and place into the fridge for at least 20 minutes to rest. Break off about 1/3 of the pastry and place it aside. Then place the remaining pastry between 2 sheets of cling film along with some extra flour and roll it out into a rough circular shape about 1/2 centimeter thick. Remove the top sheet of cling film, place your pie dish onto the pastry, then flip it all over. Press the pastry into the edges of the dish, then remove the second layer of cling film and trim the edges roughly. Add in the filling, which is still slightly warm, then roll out the pastry you put aside to make the lid. Crimp the edges of the pastry as much as you can be bothered. I personally prefer the rustic look. Add a few slits to the top of the pie so the steam can escape. If you want the pastry to turn golden and shiny, then brush the top with some beaten egg. Place the pie into a preheated 180 degree oven and bake for 45 to 55 minutes or until golden brown. Allow to rest for 10 to 15 minutes so the filling isn't piping hot, then slice and serve. For some other recipes using beef, please click the boxes, and if you like what you see, subscribe and stay tuned for more. Don't forget to check out my blog at www.foodpointhq.blogspot.com for more in-depth recipes and updates. Drop me an email or message with a new recipe request and it may be featured in a future episode. Until next time, happy eating!